See, friction has its own advantages and disadvantages. Advantages, the word advantages means how is friction beneficial for us? And when we talk about disadvantages, we talk about the limitations of friction, we talk about the problems caused by friction.
Friction.
Okay.
Yes.
So it has its own advantages and disadvantages. So first advantage, first benefit of friction to us is that we are able to walk due to friction. See, if the floor is slippery, sometimes
Yes.
slip on a banana peel or anything on a wet floor, on a soapy floor, we can slip, right? Because
Yes.
there's less friction there. If the surface is rough, then
Because
there are less
then
chances of
there
slipping.
are more interlockings and it
Yes.
is like
And
difficult.
hence more grip
Yes.
to the surface and we are able to walk due to friction. Okay. So second is brakes would not work without friction. Brakes work because there is friction. If there is no friction, then
Then we will not able to break, stop the cars or
yes. So brakes would not
cars.
work without friction. Third is
Hmm.
we cannot erase anything without friction. Next, without friction, nails and screws would not hold anything and knots could not be tied. Because there is friction and because of friction only nails and screws can be, we can insert nails in the
Yes.
walls, right? Lightening of mastic and stitching of clothes is possible due to friction. We can light the mastic. How do we light the mastic?
With the matchbox.
With the matchbox, what do you do?
We did like this.
You did like this and then we have
Then fire.
yes. So this is because of friction between the two surfaces. And stitching of clothes is also because of friction. You can see here, belts would
Yes.
not drive machines without friction. Had there been no friction between the tires and the road, the cars could not be stopped or turned to change directions.
Hmm.
Cars will cars can skid. If there is no friction, then cars can skid.
Skid.
It would be impossible to hold a glass or objects if there was no friction. We cannot hold anything without friction. We hold the objects because there is friction. There are
If it will be
examples.
slippery, then if it will be smooth surface,
Mhm.
any so that we can't hold it.
Hmm. So these are the advantages of friction. Okay, you can take the screenshot of the slide if you want to.
Okay.
Should I go to the next slide?
Right. Uh, mm, yeah, done.
Without friction, buildings could not be constructed. Buildings can be constructed because of friction only. Next, we have disadvantages of friction. So there are few limitations of friction as well. Friction causes moving objects to stop or slow down. Suppose you kick a ball and it starts rolling on the floor. After some time, it stops.
Yes.
Okay. And friction in machines causes some force to be wasted. When we use a machine for a long time, then it becomes hot.
Yes.
Becomes hot after some time. So energy is, there is loss of energy in the form of heat, right?
Yes.
Friction produces heat that damages machine. As we had discussed, that when we use a machine for a long time, then it becomes hot due to friction.
Uh, when we drive the car, the engine becomes hot.
Engine becomes hot.
After some
And there
time.
is wear and tear of machine parts due to friction. For example, soles of shoes, tires, screws, etc. get worn out due to friction. This is because of friction only.
Hmm.
Okay. Next, we have friction produces heat. So when a mastic is struck against a rough surface, heat is produced due to friction and the chemical on the head of the stick ignites. This is because of friction only. We can light a matchstick because of friction between the matchstick and the rough
and
surface
the
of the matchbox. Rubbing of palms reduces heat. During winters, we rub our hands like this.
yes.
We rub our hands
To
like this, then heat is produced. This is
hmm,
because of friction between the palms. Okay? Mechanical energy gets converted into heat energy. When meteors enter the Earth's atmosphere, they are destroyed due to heat produced by atmospheric friction. See, in our universe, we have sun, a planet, a galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, and we have comets, meteors, and meteorites. There are so many things in in our solar system.
yeah.
So when a meteor strikes the Earth's atmosphere, then it gets burnt in the atmosphere only due to friction. Due to
Yes.
friction, it gets burnt in the atmosphere and does not reach the Earth's surface. Okay? But if the meteor is large enough, only then it reaches the Earth's surface. If it is very big, then it reaches the Earth's surface. But if it is not that big, then it is destroyed
Then will
in the atmosphere
destroy
only due to friction.
pressure friction.
Okay? You can see in the picture.
Yes. I've seen a video of this too.
Okay. Mhm.
Like uh, uh in the US, NASA already informed that a small meteor will come,
Okay.
and when it was just uh, going, and
Mhm.
it destroyed.
Okay. So you know about this. That's good to know. The jar of the mixer becomes hot when it is run for few minutes. When we use a mixer grinder for a long time, then the jar becomes hot. Even the machine comes hot.
Hmm.
Yes. Now there are certain situations where we require friction, but there are certain situations where we do not need friction and we want friction to be reduced. So we'll talk about these things only. It's a very general topic. Okay. You
Hmm.
like it. Situations requiring increase in friction. Now, where do we want friction to be increased? Where so we'll consider those situations here. Soles of shoes are grooved to provide a better grip. In this manner, a person can run safely. Okay, this is to increase friction. This is to
Increase friction.
increase the friction, to increase the irregularities, to increase the friction, so that they can provide a better grip.
Hmm.
Okay. Next, tires of cars are corrugated to provide a better grip on the roads. Tires are corrugated. You can see this picture here. You can see the designs over it, the tire. This is because to increase the friction. This
So
is done,
that the tire is more rough.
yes, this is done to increase the friction, to provide a better grip and to avoid skidding.
Hmm.
Okay. Next, friction is increased by using brake pads in the brake systems of cycles and automobiles. So in the brake system of cycles and automobiles, brake pads are used to increase friction. When a cycle is in motion, the brake pads do not touch the wheels. On the application of brakes, the pads stop the motion of the wheels due to friction. Okay?
Hmm.
And people who you do weightlifting in gyms. For weightlifting, they apply certain kind of substance on their hand and they rub their
Yes.
and then they hold the weight.
Then yes. Like when I play cricket, I used to wear my gloves on my hand to hold it for a grip
Yes,
for the grip.
increases the grip. For better grip, it is
Yes.
done. Now we have the situations where friction should be reduced. Moving parts of machines, we need to reduce the friction. Carom boards, we sprinkle powder on carom board.
Yes.
Why do we sprinkle powder on carom board?
So that we can easily, like when we will push the
Striker.
tiger, yes, and then so that it will easy to travel.
It strikes smoothly.
Yes.
And
Yes.
in the moving parts of machines, we apply oils to reduce friction.
Yes. Oil, yes.
Yes, machine oils are applied. Door hinges. Sometimes a door hinges produce sound,
Yes.
a very irritating sound they produce. Then we apply oil in the doors as well.
Yes.
Removing jewelry like rings and bangles. If we find difficulty in removing the bangles or the rings, then what do we
Then we put like we can put oil or something
we can
like
put oil on our hands or soap, soapy water, because it
yes.
reduces friction and we can easily take out our rings or bangles. Now, there are certain methods of reducing friction. Let's discuss these methods one by one. By polishing or painting, when we polish a substance or paint anything, this reduces the irregularities of the surface. By applying lubricants, when oil, grease, or graphite is applied between moving parts of a machine, the moving parts do not directly rub against each other. So interlocking of the irregularities is avoided to a great extent. Okay. By applying oil, by applying grease, we can
So that interlockings no so that it can be smooth
it becomes
and
smooth.
smoother and we can easily
Yes.
use it.
And in some machines, it is not advised to use oil as lubricant. So an air cushion between two parts is used to reduce friction. And it is not advised to use oil, then we use air cushions. Okay. So you can
We
see
need
here.
to clean the glass.
And by using powder, for example, on carom boards, we can reduce friction. We can reduce friction by sprinkling powder on the carom board.
Yes.
Okay. It decreases the roughness and striker can move smoothly on the carom board this way. What are the methods we can use to reduce friction?
To reduce friction, door hinges, carom board to by carom boards by sprinkling powders and
And applying
when
soap solution.
yeah, when soap solution to to remove rings or bangles when they are tight.
Yes, we apply soap solution to remove them. Wheels reduce friction because why do wheels reduce friction?
Wheels reduce friction so that it
Because
is
there
easier to
is
move.
easier to move because there is less area of contact between the wheel and the surface
Yes.
and irregularities get very less
Uh,
time to get interlocked.
yes, because it's a rolling friction.
Yes, and therefore rolling friction is less than sliding or static friction.
Yes.
And wheels roll. Wheels can roll.
Roll.
And rolling reduces friction. When we roll an object over the surface of another object or on the floor, on the road, when we roll anything, then It reduces friction.
Hmm.
As a result, it is easier to pull luggage attached to wheels. And sliding in most machines is replaced by rolling motion by the use of ball bearings. You can see this picture, ball bearings. Have you ever seen these ball bearings
No,
anywhere?
no.
We usually find these ball bearings in iron shops. Okay,
Hmm.
so sliding friction is replaced by rolling friction by the use of ball bearings. See, we use ball bearings here. You can see we have two metallic circular rings, and in these two metallic circular rings, we have these spherical balls. Okay.
Yes.
Next is streamlining. What is streamline? We say that it's a streamlined object. Objects
Like
should be streamlined to avoid friction.
uh, I listened the word streamlining.
Yes, you might have
Uh,
heard the name.
yeah. Streamlining is like the outlining of like the figure.
Outlining, outlining
Or
with pointed ends.
yes,
For example, you can see this ship.
yes.
It has a streamlined body. Aeroplanes,
Mm. Like the
okay,
fish,
like fish.
like a
Yes, very good. Fish, ship, aeroplanes, birds,
mm,
they have streamlined body.
mm,
Okay, so when objects move, then the air around them generates friction. See, anything which moves, air around them will generate friction. So fast moving objects such as cars, bullet trains, aeroplanes, they are all streamlined to reduce friction.
yes.
Okay, let's consider a situation. You have two papers, okay? And you have kept one paper as it is, but the other paper you have rolled, crumbled the paper, and you have made a ball of that paper.
Mm,
Okay. Now you're going to release both the paper from a certain height. So you have a paper, a normal paper, and the crumbled one,
mm,
the ball that you have made. So
yes.
one normal paper and the crumbled one. Okay.
Mm.
So now you tell me which paper will reach the ground first.
The crumble one,
Crumbled one will reach the ground first. Why?
because uh it have a streamlined body and
See, it is
like
spherical. It is spherical in shape. It is
yes.
round.
Mm. Because
And the paper which we have not folded, which we have not crumbled is rectangular sheet, right?
yes,
The rectangular sheet reaches the ground later. And crumbled one, paper ball, will reach the ground first. Because there is less area of contact between the air and the ball, paper ball. Okay?
okay. Mm.
Hence, there is less
like
friction.
when aeroplane with the made by the paper, it
Yes.
also have a
They can
streamlined
fly.
body.
Yes, they have streamlined body. They can fly easily. Even boats. We create paper boats during rainy season,
Yes,
right? During rains, we create paper boats. They can easily float on the stagnant water. We can easily make them float, right?
mm,
Because they have streamlined body. So streamlined body. So when the body goes in the forward direction, you can see the pointed end,
mm,
this part, this area.
yeah,
So it has less area of contact with the air or the water. So they can cut through the water easily. They can cut through the air easily. And this is the reason they are all streamlined. Even the nature has created organisms. See, organisms which are present in the aquatic organisms, or we can say aerial organisms, they're all streamlined. Na? Fishes, birds, they're all streamlined. Next, we have fluid friction. So what is fluid? How can we define fluid?
Liquid.
Okay.
Liquid type.
Liquid type, you are saying. You, I mean, because liquids can flow and therefore you are saying that they are fluids.
Yes.
We see the flowing water, we can see the flowing water in the river or anywhere in the waterfall. We see everywhere water is flowing and it is flowing and therefore it is a fluid, right? What else? Do gases flow?
Gases, yes.
Gases fluids nahi hai?
Yes, they are fluid.
So both gases and liquids are fluids.
Yes.
Because gases can also flow. Liquids can flow, right? As liquids flow, in the same way gases can flow.
Like in oxygen, like
Yes. So,
it's
moving air
air.
is called wind. We have learned the definition of wind in lower classes, that wind is the moving air. Air can move, air can flow.
Yeah.
Gases can also be regarded as fluids. Now, these fluids provide friction. These fluids provide friction.
Friction.
It is difficult to walk on a windy day, na? If you're going in a market or somewhere, then we find it difficult to walk
Yes.
on a windy day. And in swimming,
Like yes.
in swimming also, if the water flow is,
If water is flowing here and we are swimming here, it is difficult.
then it is difficult. It means that fluids exert
Yes.
friction.
Yes. Like when I drive cycle, when sometime when the flow like wind flows there, and it is difficult. It is more difficult to drive it.
Yes.
Like more force is needed then.
See, you have your own real life examples. So now you can easily connect. Any other example that you have faced?
By walking or
You go for swimming?
what?
For swimming?
Swimming, I don't know how to swim.
You don't know how to swim. But when you walk or when you go for cycling, then you have realized that there is something which is opposing your motion. Moving, it can be it can be moving air or moving water. Anything, right? So fluids exert friction. Now, fluid is the common name for gases and liquids. Air, water, other liquids exert frictional force when objects move through them. And this frictional force, which is exerted by fluids, is called drag. We call this frictional force drag. Drag depends upon nature of the fluid, nature of the
Shape
fluid,
of the
shape of the object, and speed of the
speed of the
object with respect to fluid. How fast or slow the object is moving with respect to fluid.
fluid.
Okay. When object move through fluids, they lose energy as they have to overcome the force of friction. Therefore, objects are given special shape, streamlined shape to reduce friction as they move through fluids. Okay.
Yes.
Now you have to give the answers. Okay. Give an example where ball bearings are used. Give an example where ball bearings are used.
Ball bearings.
You have seen the picture of ball bearing, right? I had shown you.
Yes, ball bearings in the tires. That was a tire something.
Ceiling fan.
Ceiling.
It is used in ceiling fan. Next, what is the use of lubricants?
Lubricants, so that lubricants like it will be easier or smoother. The like when for a machine, like
Yes. It
it's
reduces
not.
friction.
Yes,
Yes.
it reduces
It
friction.
reduces friction and therefore things become smoother. As you had
Smoother.
said, smoother. The word smoother. Why smoother? Because it reduces friction. When we apply lubricants, friction is reduced and the thing becomes smoother,
Smoother.
softer. Okay. Why is it difficult to walk on the wet marble floor?
Because because uh, because on the rough surface we have hard interlockings, and while on the wet marble floor, it the floor is soft,
Irregularities
the
get blocked,
and there's
less interlocking.
less interlockings.
It reduces friction.
Friction. Yes.
Okay. Next question.
Hmm.
Why is fine powder sprinkled on carom board?
Because it reduces friction for a striker to move.
Okay. Good. Why does the jar of a mixer becomes hot when it is run for a few minutes?
Because more energy is used.
Okay. Because it becomes hot. See, when the jar moves, then when the blades of the jar moves, then
Then
friction arises
yes, friction.
and
Yes.
friction produces
Heat.
friction produces heat.
Heat.
And because of this, jar of a mixer becomes hot. Okay. Next question. Which force helps us to write on a paper or a blackboard?
Which force? Uh, um,
We are doing the chapter.
force. Muscular force.
Oh,
Yes.
how do you write on blackboard? Okay, muscular force is fine. You're using your hands. That's why you're saying muscular force.
Yes.
So because of friction present there, na?
Yes.
You're able to write, right?
Hmm.
It is because of frictional force. Next question. What is a drag? What is drag?
Drag that the frictional force is exerted.
It is the frictional force
Exerted by exerted
fluids,
by
liquids, gases, right? Frictional force exerted by fluids. What is drag?
frictional force exerted by fluids.
What are fluids?
Fluids are liquids and gases.
Very nice. Give examples of objects having streamlined bodies.
A boat, aeroplane, or a fish.
Fish is correct. Okay. Next question. Why are soles of shoes and tires of vehicles grooved?
So it will so that there will be more interlockings, and when we will walk, uh, when we will walk or drive the car, then I know the answer.
Yes, I know you know the answer.
Yes.
There are
So
irregularities it creates
Yes.
irregularities. There are more irregularities and more interlocking would be there. More interlocking,
Yes.
we have,
It will make the grip. It will make the grip between the surface,
yes,
and it will be easier to move.
correct. To provide better grip to increase friction. Name the factors which affect fluid friction.
Effect. Wind?
Mm,
No. Not wind. It
fluid
affects the.
friction. See, if we have honey or water, out of honey and water, which will provide more friction, honey or water?
Like more friction, like uh,
Honey, na? Because honey is viscous.
yes.
And so it depends upon the nature of the fluid.
Hmm.
And second thing, if the water is flowing very fast, then it
Uh,
will exert
what?
if the water is flowing very fast and you are swimming in that water, then
Then it will be difficult and more force, and I will need it more force to swim.
or to swim. And what if a person is swimming faster than the other? Then also
Yes.
person who is swimming faster
Yes.
will face
Then I need more force.
person who is swimming faster would face more frictional force.
More frictional. Yes.
It depends upon the shape of the object also. As I had discussed, we have a plain paper, rectangular one, and the crumbled one. The
Crumbled
shape of
paper.
the object, it depends upon shape.
Yes.
If you release the rectangular paper or the crumbled paper from a height, then crumbled
Then
paper reach the ground first.
yes.
So it depends upon the shape of object, it depends upon the speed of object with respect to the fluid, and also depends upon the nature of the fluid.
Hmm.
So very important question. Okay.
Yes.
Now we have a third tutorial. Please take the screenshot. You're supposed